Hello everybody, welcome to the Voice of the World. I'm your host, K. Raleigh. Sri Lanka puts Chinese COVID-19 vaccines on hold and orders 13 million AstraZeneca doses. Sri Lanka is yet to approve the emergency use of Sinopharma's COVID-19 vaccine made in China, citing the failure of Chinese authorities to submit the requisite information needed for its approval. The decision was announced by the cabinet co-spokesperson Dr. Ramesh Patirana, who claimed that the Chinese COVID-19 vaccine was yet to complete the critical phase 3 clinical trials. He added that the complete dossier regarding the registration of China's Sinopharm vaccine is yet to be received by Sri Lankan authorities. Consequently, Sri Lanka will be dependent mostly on the Serum Institute of India's AstraZeneca vaccine to vaccinate its 14 million people. As of now, we can proceed only with the AstraZeneca vaccine. The moment we receive full details from Chinese vaccine manufacturer, we can consider it, Pathirana said. After 450 buildings projects being named after Nehru and Gandhi dynasty, Liberals outrage about the stadium named after Prime Minister Modi. President Ramnath Kovind today inaugurated Narendra Modi Stadium, world's largest cricket stadium, at the Sardar Patel Sports Enclave in Montera, Gujarat. Soon, the Congress supporters and the Congress-friendly Liberals had a massive meltdown which was coupled with spreading falsehoods and misleading information. Congress social media cell was activated to claim that when Congress makes it back to power, it will rename the stadium. What the Congresses did not get is that the stadium is named after PM Modi, while the enclave, the entire complex which houses the stadium and various other sporting facilities, is named Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel Sports Enclave. Stadium is just a part of the bigger sports complex. A November 2013 RTI response has revealed that Nehru-Gandhi family names were used for 450 different schemes, projects and institutions. 12 central, 52 state schemes, 28 sports tournaments and trophies, 19 stadiums, 5 airports, 98 educational institutions, 51 awards, 15 fellowships, 15 national sanctuaries and parks, 37 hospitals and medical institutions, 37 institutions, chairs and festivals, and 74 roads, buildings and places are named after 3 members of the Nehru-Gandhi family: Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. There are also parks and zoos dedicated to Kamala Nehru, who was Jawaharlal Nehru's wife. She had died even before the Indian independence and had never been a politician. There are parks, gardens, memory schools and hospitals after Indira Gandhi's younger son, Sanjay Gandhi. Sanjay Gandhi was a PM for a period of only 6 months and was best known for the forced sterilization drive during emergency and the Maruti scam. Farmers' case, government ready to talk with farmers on 3 laws after union's response on its offer, says Tomar. The government is ready to resume the talks with the protesting farmers if they respond to its offer to put the 3 contentious farm laws on hold for 1.5 years and work out the difference during that time through a joint committee, Agricultural Minister Narendra Singh Tomar said on Wednesday. The government and the unions representing farmers who have been camping at the Delhi's borders for about 3 months in the protest against 3 laws that they see will end state procurement for the crops at MSP have held 11 rounds of talks, the last being on January 22. Talks broke after widespread violence during the tractor rally by protesting farmers on January 26. Speaking on the sidelines of the event there, Tomar said the government is committed towards the interest of farmers and agriculture, and under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it is making efforts to double farmers' income and strengthen the Indian agriculture sector. The minister was replying to a query on Bharatiya Kisan Union leader Rakesh Tikait threatening to march to the parliament on 40 lakh tractors if the law was not repealed. Whether the government is making any effort to resume talks with unions, Tomar said the government has been holding discussions with farmers sympathetically. Even today, whenever the response comes, the government is always ready to hold talks. Cabinet approves President's rule in Puducherry. Union Minister Prakash Javadekar told reporters that the decision was taken as no party claimed to form a government in Puducherry following the resignation of Chief Minister V. Narayanaswamy. The Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved the proposal to impose President's rule days after a Congress-led government in the Union Territory lost power during the vote of confidence. Announcing the cabinet decision, Union Minister Prakash told reporters that the decision was taken as no party claimed to form a government in Puducherry following the resignation of Chief Minister there. Subsequently, the Lieutenant General has recommended President's rule in Puducherry and Union Cabinet has approved the same, Minister said. After the President's assent, the Assembly will get resolved, Javadekar said, while adding the further necessary steps for administrative work in Puducherry would be taken soon. He also noted that the model code of the conduct was expected to come into effect soon after the Election Commission announces the dates for elections there, along with 4 states. Board of Control of Cricket BCCI Centre has moved from Mumbai to Motera. Its new patrons call all the shots. The allegations of the game's greatest icons being co-opted and an institution surrendering autonomy that it so fiercely fights for in quotes are flying thick and fast. The west coast teardrop peninsula of Maharashtra and the central Gujarat city of Baroda were allowed to retain their cricketing independence. This was a BCCI gesture of gratitude to the region's erstwhile princely states that had nurtured the game for ages. Besides, both Maharashtra and Baroda had self-sustaining cricketing ecosystem that would have been undermined if merged. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was once the Gujarat Cricket Association's president. So was Home Minister Amit Shah, whose son Jai Shah is now all-powerful BCCI secretary. It's a long-standing tradition in this neck of woods. Any political seismic shift in Gandhinagar shakes the Motera turf. Cutting across the party lines, the state's heavyweight politicians Madhav Singh Solanki, Chimanbhai Patel, Narhari Amin have ruled GCA themselves by the proxy. The Modi-Shah era at the Motera was merely an extension of Gujarat's cricket political hyphenated culture. Rahul Gandhi accused of stoking anti-North India sentiment in Kerala's speech hints they are superficial, not intelligent. Rahul Gandhi's speech in his recent visit to Kerala has stoked controversy. Speaking in Trivandrum, Rahul Gandhi said that he had been an MP in North India for 15 years and had gotten used to a different type of politics. He further said, "For me, coming to Kerala was very refreshing as suddenly I found that people are interested in issues and not just superficially trying to get into details. I was talking to some students in US and I said that I really enjoy going to Kerala. It's not just affection but the way you do your politics. If I might say so, the intelligence with which you do your politics, for me, it's been a learning experience and pleasure," he added. To tackle increasing suicide rates during the pandemic, Japan appoints a minister of loneliness. PM Suga, while appointing Sakamoto on Feb 12 said women are suffering from isolation more than men are and the number of suicides is on a rising trend. I hope we will identify problems and promote policy measures comprehensively. For the first time in 11 years, Japan has seen a spike in the number of suicides in the country. The government has now appointed a minister of loneliness to reduce loneliness and social isolation among the residents. As per a report in Japan Times, the Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga appointed Tetsushi Sakamoto as the Minister of Loneliness. Sakamoto is already dealing with the declining birth rate in Japan and promoting regional revitalization. Loneliness has been a problematic issue for Japan for a long time. It is often discussed along with hikomori, which means the people who live in extreme social isolation. Several attempts have been made so far to deal with the issue. For example, engineers have developed a robot that is programmed to hold someone's hand when they are lonely. There are service providers who can charge people to keep them company. You can also hire a companion or someone to cuddle in Japan. Other services to tackle loneliness include hire a friend or hire a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Japan is not the only country to be dealing with loneliness. A 2017 Red Cross report suggested that over 9 million people in the United Kingdom feel lonely or left out. After the study was released, the UK became the first nation to appoint a loneliness minister in 2018. The British government has defined loneliness as a subjective, unwelcome feeling of lack or loss of companionship. Ramona Hurdham, head of tackling the loneliness, the Department of Digital Culture, Media and Sports in UK said, loneliness is always an unwelcome feeling and an experience which leads to bad health outcomes. In 2018 report, Global Health Organization Cigna said that loneliness has the same impact on mortality as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, making it even more dangerous than obesity. US President Joe Biden casually drops the N-word during Munich Security Conference accused of racism on social media. On Saturday, the incumbent United States President Joe Biden used racial slur during his 18-minute address at virtual Munich Security Conference. At about 15 minutes into the speech, Biden said, "Look at the range of challenges Europe and the United States must take on together is broad and complex. I'm eager to hear next from my good friends and outstanding leaders such as Merkel about her thoughts and the way they move forward." Several social media users called out President Joe Biden for his remarks. However, he did not bother to issue a clarification or cite an apology for the casual use of word nigger. One Twitter user wrote, "When the N-word is okay, only if you are Joe Biden." Another user pointed out the hypocrisy of the left liberal lobby and emphasized that Donald Trump would have been ostracized for the use of word. Don't worry guys, Joe Biden saying the N-word was just a mental typo. Imagine if Trump had this sort of misspeak, tweeted Owens Carruthers. Joe Biden also says African Americans and Hispanics don't know how to get online. During his first town hall as the President of the United States, Joe Biden courted controversy for claiming that Latinos and the people of African American community do not know how to get online. The town hall took place on Wednesday, Feb 17 night in Milwaukee City of Wisconsin. On being asked about the poor vaccination rates in the two communities, he replied, "Not everybody in the community in the Hispanic and the African American, particularly in the rural areas, that are distant or inner city districts know how to get online to determine how to get in line for that COVID vaccination at the Walgreens or at a particular store." Following the social media backlash, he issued a clarification saying that he was referring to the older members of the two communities who aren't tech savvy. Karnataka. Arabic school teacher Muhammad Saifullah arrested for sexually harassing girl student in a bus. As per report in Digi World, Saifullah teaches at an Arabic school in Sulia. The incident took place when the bus was travelling towards Uppinnagadi from Dharmashala. Report suggests that while travelling on the bus, he would often touch and harass the girl. The girl objected to his behaviour and informed the bus conductor. The driver took prompt action and stopped the bus right in front of the Uppinnagadi police station. Saifullah was handed over to the police. The complaint was filed against him by the girl student, after which the police took him into custody. Maharashtra Congress passes resolution demanding reservation for Muslims and Marathas. A meeting of Maharashtra Congress Parliamentary Committee on Tuesday passed resolution in support of Muslim and Maratha reservation in the state. The Congress party also took a stand that centre's agricultural laws should not be enforced in the state. The parliamentary committee meeting was chaired by Maharashtra Congress President Nana Patole in the presence of party's state in charge H.K. Patil. Senior Congress leaders such as ministers Baba Saheb Thorat, Ashok Chauhan, Prithviraj Chauhan, Sushil Kumar Shinde were present at the meeting. State President Nana Patole said, Congress is committed to the development of all communities in the state, and the implementation of reservation for the Muslim community is part of the Vikas Agadhi government's program for the welfare of all communities. In addition to resolution for Muslim reservations, the party also passed resolutions demanding revocation of the farm laws passed by Centre, creation of separate farm laws in the state, disbursement of funds for the statutory boards in state, and for the allocation of funds for OBCs, VJNT, and other backward classes. Besides, the party has zeroed in on various other programs to strengthen the organization. The party decided to launch Sankalp Abhiyan, an outreach program under which the state leaders will reach out to the voter base in a bid to regain its old glory. It was also decided in the parliamentary committee meeting that the party will join hands with the Vikas Agadhi allies, Shiv Sena and NCP for the local body poll subject to consultation with local units of the party. Yogi Adityanath to meet Miss India runner-up Manya Singh and athlete Priyanka Goswami, two women who battled all odds. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is slated to meet VLCC Femina Miss India 2020 runner-up Manya Singh, who hails from Kushinagar, Uttar Pradesh, and athlete Priyanka Goswami, who belongs to Meerut, Uttar Pradesh. The stories of these two women are of sheer hard work and perseverance in the face of all odds. Coming from humble backgrounds, the two women made their mark in their respective fields. Priyanka Goswami secured a seat in Tokyo Olympics by making a record in women's 20-kilometer race. Meerut's Priyanka Goswami is an inspiration to all those women who are toiling to achieve their dreams without being discouraged by the difficulties on their way. Priyanka's father was a junior clerk in Indian Railways. In one of her interviews, she reportedly said that she started participating in athletic events to get sports bags, and also because the winner would get a prize. Racing against all odds, Priyanka Goswami created a national record in women's 20-kilometer race walking event. Consequently, she secured her place in Tokyo's Olympics this year. She has also been selected for the Rani Lakshmibai Award. Manya Singh, an auto rickshaw driver's daughter, runner-up to Femina Miss India 2020, could not win Miss India 2020 crown, but she did win people's hearts with her sheer hard work and perseverance. Her story is an inspiration to all the women who were not born with a silver spoon. Just like Priyanka Goswami, Manya Singh's journey has not been a cakewalk either. Manya's father is an auto rickshaw driver. She revealed how she went without food and sleep during many nights. She said that she could not attend school as she started working when he was just a teenager. All the clothes I had were hand-me-downs. I yearned for books, but luck wasn't in my favor. Eventually, my parents mortgaged whatever little jewelry my mother had to ensure that I paid my exam fees in order to earn a degree. She said, describing her struggles, Manya Singh took up odd jobs like dishwashing, working part-time at a restaurant, skipping meals, and walking miles to save money. She ran away to Mumbai at the age of 14 to pursue her dreams. Her parents supported her decision and also shifted to Mumbai. Proud of her daughter's achievements, Manya Singh's father, Om Prakash Singh, said that he and his daughter wanted to meet Chief Minister. He was happy that now they will be able to meet CM Yogi. He said that the state government's policies helped his daughter to achieve his dreams. West Bengal CID detains Bangladeshi national for the bomb attack on Minister Zakir Hussain. The West Bengal Crime Investigation Department (CID) has detained Bangladeshi national in connection with the blast in Murshidabad's Nimita railway station last week, in which State Minister Zakir Hussain and over 20 others were injured in the attack. According to reports, the CID officials confirmed the detaining of one person in connection with the attacks. In a dastardly attack on Feb 17, a crude bomb was hurled at West Bengal Minister of State for Labour Zakir Hussain, who was waiting at the platform number 2 at Nimita railway station in Jangipur subdivision to catch train to Kolkata. Hussain and others had suffered serious injuries during the bomb attack. They are currently undergoing the treatment at a state-run hospital in the city. The bomb attack on Hussain was captured live on camera. The video of attack showing terrifying visuals is doing rounds on social media. In the video, Hussain can be seen walking with a group of people when seconds later the explosion took place. India's richest family plans to build a zoo, and it of course sparks a controversy. Mukesh Ambani, the billionaire owner of Reliance Industries, plans to build a 280-acre zoo with more than 100 species. The Ambanis plan to build a zoo and an animal sanctuary called Green Zoological Rescue and Rehabilitation Kingdom in Jamnagar city in the western Indian state of Gujarat. The pet project is led by his son, 25-year-old Anant Ambani, who is a board member of Jio Reliance Telecom arm, according to the Business Insider report. In January, Reliance Industries struck a deal with the Assam State Zoo in Guwahati to obtain 2 rare black panthers in exchange for 2 pairs of zebra from Israel, a swap that activists and the local political parties have criticized, according to Northeast Now News. On Sunday, about 100 activists gathered in front of Guwahati Zoo to protest against the transfer of panthers. The Ambani family lives in a 27-story tower in Mumbai that has 3 helipads and reportedly cost $1 billion to build. The zoo is said to be home to nearly 100 species of animals, birds, reptiles from India and across the world that would also include African lions, Bengal tigers, Komodo dragons, etc. Britain stole 45 trillion from India and lied about it. There is a story that is commonly told in Britain that the colonization of India, as horrible as it may have been, was not of any major economic benefit to Britain itself. If anything, the administration of India was a cost to Britain. So the fact that the empire was sustained for so long, the story goes on, was a gesture of Britain's benevolence. New research by renowned economist Utsa Patnaik, just published by the Columbia University Press, deals a crushing blow to this narrative. Drawing on nearly 2 centuries of detailed data on tax and trade, Patnaik calculated that Britain drained a total of nearly 45 trillion from India during the period of 1765 to 1938. It's a staggering sum. For perspective, 45 trillion is 17 times more than the total annual gross domestic product of United Kingdom today. Biden to call Saudi Arabia's King Salman about Khashoggi report. Report warns the imminent release of explosive US intelligence document could entangle one of King's son. President Joe Biden is expected to call Saudi Arabia's King Salman bin Azuddin Al Saud on Wednesday ahead of the scheduled release of a US intelligence report detailing the disappearance and murder of prominent journalist Jamal Khashoggi. US Office of Director of National Intelligence reportedly implies that the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salem, also known as MBS, was involved in Khashoggi's murder and dismemberment of his body. Khashoggi, a Washington Post newspaper columnist and critic of Saudi government policies, was assassinated by the team of Saudi agents at country's consulate in Istanbul in October 2018. According to reports, he had gone to building to get documents he needed for his marriage. US media outlets later reported that CIA had concluded MBS was involved. MBS has vehemently denied the accusations but has accepted responsibility as the kingdom's de facto leader. MBS has also spoken to Biden, although as the country's defense minister, he held a phone call with US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. US aviation body orders urgent probes of some Boeing 777 engines. Inspections are to focus on Pratt and Whitney engines of the type that failed during a United Airlines flight on Saturday. US National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB) said on Monday that a cracked fan blade from United Flight 328's engine that caught fire shortly after taking off from Denver, Colorado, was consistent with metal fatigue. When metal fatigues, a crack can grow progressively longer each time it is stressed as the engine starts up. Such cracks can linger for years before they lead to failure. Ecuador indigenous people march against the vote fraud. Indigenous President candidate Perez wants a recount in 17 out of Ecuador's 24 provinces as his supporters rally in the capital Quito. Hundreds of indigenous protesters have descended on the Ecuadorian capital Quito, demanding a recount of the Feb 7 presidential election after the official results showed that indigenous activists Yaku Perez did not advance to the runoff vote. Perez, who is 51, has been walking through Andina Nation to denounce what he calls manipulation of the poll statements that left him in third place after left-wing economist Andres Arauz and conservative banker Guillermo Lasso. The Elections Council on Sunday confirmed that the Arauz and Lasso will advance to April 11 runoff, with the final tally showing Perez less than percentage point behind Lasso. Perez wants a recount in 17 of Ecuador's 27 provinces. "We are going to give the National Electoral Council one last chance," Perez said at a rally in Quito Park. "This fraud cannot go unpunished. Nobody can hide it." He later took boxes with more than 16,000 poll statements that he says show inconsistencies to the Elections Council. Candidates can file objections or contest the results of the vote before the Electoral Council or the Elections Court. Arauz won the first round with 32.72% of votes, while Lasso got 19.74% and Perez came in third place with 19.39% of votes. Perez made a surprisingly strong showing after running on platform to protect water resources from mining industry and to recover money from corruption by previous leaders.